Hi everyone, welcome to Dig In with True Leaf Market. We're back today with our guest, Juliet. So I'm Ashley.
And I'm Juliet.
And today we're going to talk a little bit about Asian gardening and our Kitazawa brand. So Juliet is going to introduce herself a little bit here. First off, can you tell us a little bit about how you got into gardening?
I have always been interested in gardening since I was a kid. I am naturally inclined to plants and gardening, and I seriously got into gardening when my mom got really sick and have some health conditions. So that's when I started getting serious into gardening.
Okay, so for you, it was more about bringing in, a fresh harvest that you could, live off of. Awesome. And remind me again, how long have you been gardening for?
I've always been helping my grandma with the gardening, and I keep watching her and learning from her garden experience. So I started since a very long time ago. That's more than 40 years.
Wow. So pretty much for most of your life then.
Yes.
That's
correct.
amazing. That's kind of similar to me with gardening with my grandma too. And it's just been a kind of a lifelong passion.
Yeah, it is.
Awesome. So in your personal garden, what are your must-have vegetables that you always have to have around?
I always kept the staples like green onions, cilantro, green leafy vegetables like bok choy, mostly from the Asian vegetable selection that I have in my garden. Yeah.
So if you had to give people a set of, say, 5 vegetables that would help them to be able to grow a well-rounded Asian garden for traditional cuisine, what would you tell them that they should be looking for?
Like I mentioned earlier, staples like green onions is a must. It goes with the soup. It's most of the dishes in Asian cuisines. So that's one of it. And I also recommend Chinese celery. Bok choy is also a must. Yeah, and many other things that you can actually grow. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, jumping into just a little bit more about Asian gardens. What are the easiest things to grow if someone has never really grown Asian type varieties? What are the fail-proof ones?
Fail-proof would be spinach. There are also cucumbers. Amaranth is pretty easy to grow. Yeah, and there's also, I would say, like yu choy, yeah, kailan, yeah. Chinese broccolis are pretty easy to grow.
Awesome. I know I'm pretty new to Asian varieties. I don't use them a lot, but the more I've gotten into them, it's fun to explore the different textures and flavors that come with
That's
things
right.
that, a lot of people who just grow up with traditional grocery store type vegetables, you don't really get. There's a lot more variety the more you reach out into other cultures.
Yeah.
So you are a big part of True Leaf Market here. Can you tell us a little bit about how long you've been with True Leaf Market?
I started working for True Leaf Market since 2022, and that's when Kitazawa became a part of True Leaf Market, and that's when I also started being a spokesperson for the company.
Awesome. So what all do you do for us? Can you expound a little
My
bit?
main role is actually customer service for True Leaf Market and Kitazawa Seeds, but I also help out with the other team's tasks as well. I work with compliance team, testing some seeds before we grow them, before we sell them to our customers. We want to ensure that the quality is there and they are viable before we sell the seeds. So that's part of my task. And I also work with marketing team, creating contents, giving some ideas, post on social media, and yeah, that's some of the stuff that I do for the company.
Awesome. I know we love having you around. Just recently, you've
Thank
helped us
you.
with some videos about how to use soybeans, like making soy milk and tofu. So if you're listening and you want some ideas of not only how to grow Asian varieties, but how to use them in your home and in your cooking, You can check out some of those videos and resources that Juliet has helped us with.
Yes.
So, kind of jumping back into the gardening segment, what are some varieties or Asian plants that people should be growing like right now? It's a little different because it's warm, whereas I know a lot of Asian plants like to grow more in cooler climates.
Yeah.
So can you speak a little bit about what things people could be planting right now?
Yeah, right now there are several plants that you can start. There are some short season crops like beans, especially yatlang beans or any type of pole beans or bush beans. They work well in this climate right now. We can also start cucumbers. Some squashes can also be started right now, so there's still time. Yeah, and amaranth as well. Amaranth can actually tolerate some heat. They're pretty easy to grow. It's one of those vegetables that I love growing throughout the year. Yeah.
I love that you bring up like beans and cucumbers type of plants because a lot of people think, oh, if you don't get your garden in, right in the start of the spring that you're missing out on that. But these types of plants, they grow very quickly and they produce, prolifically throughout the season. So you're really not missing out on too much if you start a little bit later, even, right now as we're coming into July.
I agree.
And so what about what can people plan ahead on to plant that they may want to either start indoors or direct sow in the fall?
Yeah, you can actually grow the shungiku, or we call tongho. These are cool season crops. You can also start watercress and radish. Radish is a must because when fall comes, of course, there's a longer cool season. We can actually grow radish during this season. Radishes produces sweeter flavor too, and I really recommend growing radish for fall. Many other things like leafy vegetables grow well in this temperature, so yeah, there's plenty of choices.
Awesome. And for those listening, you mentioned shungiku is a really popular one to grow. Can you describe kind of more of what it is and what it's used for?
It's just it has a herb kind of flavor to it. It's usually used in Japanese cuisine and some other Asian cuisine as well. For the Asian communities, usually for stir fries, but you can also use that in like shabu shabu, in like
your hot
pots,
style?
Yes, hot pots. And during fall season, when the temperature is lower, it's cooler, then a lot of Asian community likes to consume hot pot meals, so that would be great for the dish.
Yeah, I know hot pots are delicious. So if you want to try it yourself, plan ahead now, get your garden growing, and you'll have a fresh harvest ready to be used all throughout the fall.
Yeah, if you can't grow them in the garden, you can also start them as microgreens. So they do well as microgreens, and you can grow them indoors even in the wintertime.
I know microgreens for me have been a great way to get a fresh harvest. I still get that garden flavor into my meals, even though it's cold and snowy where we're at here for most of the winter. But microgreens are very easy to grow. They're ready usually within about a couple of weeks, and you can just cut as you want to harvest and sprinkle them into your meals.
Yes.
What are some of your favorite microgreens to grow?
Well, radish microgreens for the spicy flavor, but I always make sure that I have some other types of microgreens around, like bok choy is also a good choice. It goes well with soup. And my favorite of all microgreens is actually peas. Pea microgreen.
I love peas, and I've heard peas are best, used fresh in stir fries when you add them like towards the end, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because I believe with microgreens you don't really want to cook them, but they're fantastic for just throwing it at the end of your cooking so that they still have that little bit of a crunchiness to them.
Yeah, just eat it raw.
So with Asian vegetables, a lot of people are newer to them. But what are some things that more of your master gardeners would want to look for if they're wanting more of a challenge?
Something more challenging would be Chinese tune, or moringa is actually one of the most challenging one to grow. There's also jicama. plus burdock. Because these are all very long season ones. You need to take more than 100 days to actually get the crops or harvest. Yeah.
So you'd say the biggest challenge to these type of plants is just the length of time you have to care for them.
Length of time, and also to germinate them, you need extra steps to enhance the germination. So, yeah.
Can you give us, our viewers here, a few tips just to help them with that germination process?
These are all native to tropical or subtropical countries. So in order to help them to germinate, you would need to simulate the growing condition they require to actually germinate well. Things like moringa, I would always clip the tip on the side of the seeds and then soak them in warm water overnight. And then the next day, I'll place them in a container with paper towel that is moist, and then place this under a heat mat. Temperature between 80 to 90 degrees would help, because these actually grow really well in really hot climate. So it helps. A lot of people have challenges germinating them, but I don't see it as a problem unless you take these extra steps. Growing them in America, of course, we have many different zones. It will be better to grow them in a hot and humid condition. Yeah, that will give them a better chance to germinate.
Awesome. And if you're wanting to see more of what Juliet's describing here in action, we actually have a video called How to Germinate Hard Gourd Seeds, where you can see step by step as Juliet actually walked through this process for some of our more difficult seeds that people typically have a little bit of a struggle with. But you can see when you follow her tips, the results are fantastic. Mm-hmm. So just to speak a little bit more to the Kitazawa brand, could you tell us a little bit about what Kitazawa offers, what kind of our whole product line is with the Kitazawa brand?
Majority of Kitazawa seeds are Asian seeds, and some really hard to find seeds that are cherished in traditional cuisines and gardens. All our seeds are non-GMO, and we also sell hybrid seeds and heirloom seeds. So yeah,
so you can really find, no matter what type of seed you're looking for, we have something for you that you can try out.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And where can people find the Kitazawa seeds?
You can actually purchase Kitazawa seeds online from True Leaf Market website, but we also have some stores that participate in our retail program that carries our seeds in their stores. So you can actually purchase them in some of the stores in California, especially San Francisco, Berkeley, LA, and we also have some stores in Hawaii, Oregon, and Washington that carries our seeds as well.
And we're continuing to expand, so keep an eye out, ask your stores if they carry them, or just come directly to True Leaf Market as well. You can find the biggest selection right from our website. So go to trueleafmarket.com. You can search by brand. You can also use the filters to filter out to specifically Asian varieties.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Juliet, do you have any other tips for our growers who are looking specifically for, Asian gardens or combinations that you would recommend people grow?
Combinations for?
So just plant combinations, so things that grow well together in certain seasons, or let's say if someone was wanting to grow to make like kimchi, more of like fermenting specific.
Yeah, we actually
gardens.
have quite a few of selections or assortment seeds that we sell specifically for this purpose. We actually selected it carefully to ensure that you have the whole selection to make that specific dish. So it's something, for example, the kimchi seed assortment here, we selected it ourselves, and yeah, that would be making it easier for everyone.
Awesome. So if there's a dish you've been wanting to try out, check out our assortments where you can find everything that you need all in one place. Mm-hmm. Well, we want to let you guys know, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in our chat. We will respond to them. So, we'll give you a detailed answer, and if there's anything that you're looking forward to hearing or learning about from our Dig In with True Leaf Market segment here, go ahead and give us those ideas too. We'd love to take your input and answer the questions that you have. Thank you so much, Juliet, for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me around.
We sure appreciate you and everything that you do for our company, whether it's with customer service questions, making sure our seeds are high quality, or just helping us with ideas on how we can use these seeds that you love so much.
It's my pleasure. I'm honored to be here to answer all your questions.
Thank you. We'll sign off. Thanks for digging in with us here at True Leaf Market.